sensitivity analysis. A football field analysis of Zeal's stock price, considering different variables of DCF and relative valuation, shows that the current market price lies above the median level, indicating scope of reduction in stock prices. We have also conducted a detailed quarter analysis to understand Zeal's position in the industry. Zeal is better placed to face threat from current players and substitutes. However, supplier power and threat of new entrants will have higher impact on Zeal than on the industry. No research is complete without analyzing the risk involved. We will focus on risk characterized by high probability and severity of impact on Zeal's revenues. There are still fears of economic slowdown in India, which will have direct impact on corporate ad spends and hence advertisement revenues significantly. TRAI regulations curtailing the power of distribution companies will have significant negative impact on Zeal as it gets 40% of its subscription revenues from MediaPro. Also, the recent decision of the ministry requiring security clearances of all the directors of the company every 3 years instead of the erstwhile 10 years might have impact on the growth of the industry. We have quantified the risk involved using Monte Carlo simulation using quarterly GDP growth, average quarterly GRP and the stock price, and saw that 88 to 92% of the outcomes lie below the current market price, indicating substantial scope of reduction in stock prices. Though the market is busy rejoicing the quarterly results surprise, we argue that it's time to wait and watch. Because 1. All the positives of digitization has already been priced in. 2. Wholesale channel rates will come down. 3. Negotiation power of Zeal will be tested after implementation of TRAI ad cap. And lastly, there will be negative impact due to TRAI regulations. In a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, we see light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully, it's not a train. Thank you for your attention. We are now open to questions.
Go ahead, Lincoln.
Yeah, I've been quite intrigued by your assumptions for the cost of capital. So you've taken a risk-free rate of 6.5%. What was the basis for that?
So the 10-year bond, we took an average of 8.5%, from which we subtracted the default spread, considering that India is at a credit rating of Baa3. So 8.5 minus 2, we got a risk-free rate of 6.5%.
And this risk premium we have again incorporated in our discounting factor by considering it in a by incorporating it in country risk premium. So what we have done is that we have taken market risk premium ongoing in US and we have multiplied market risk premium ongoing in US and we have multiplied it by standard deviation in our stock index divided by our standard deviation in the bond prices. So it has it automatically incorporates the 2% default spread which we deducted before.
So your equity risk premium is some 10.6%. So is that?
It's coming to 12.5%.
Equity risk premium is 10.5%. Our cost of equity is 12.5%.
Interesting. Okay. You mentioned towards the end that you think that the digitization gains are priced in or are factored in due to this quarter's results.
So
why would you say that?
In 2011, after the announcement of TRAI digitization mandate, the stock price has increased by around 87% since then.
No, you mentioned it was priced into the results, so that the growth was factored in, was the comment I heard from you.
So I said that the digitization has already been priced in the stock price.
In the stock, okay, not in the results. Okay. And last question. So on the sports side, you mentioned that, okay, that's your question. So on the sports side, you mentioned that with more rights coming, the profitability will improve. That, you know, the subscription revenues coming, profitability will improve. Have you done a benchmarking of sports channels globally and how profitable they are?
The major sporting rights for India has 3% viewership for sports.
No. So the question is that it is a question of demand supply. If today all advertisers or all channels are willing to pay, say, 100 crores for an event, once the subscription revenues start coming in, they may want to pay 120 crores for the event. So it's about the demand, so how much, what is the price that is being paid, right? And a better benchmark, wouldn't it be an economy where subscription is already well penetrated? Are sports channels ever profitable?
There are 2 points coming from this. If we compare worldwide, then in Western countries, the consumption of sports channels is much more higher as compared to Indian subcontinent and Asian subcontinent. And secondly, worldwide, if we see, the sports channel business is more based on subscription revenue rather than being based on advertisement revenue, which is not the case in India till now, but it is going to be the case after 2 years when digitization is substantially completed. So, if we compare sports companies from abroad, they are more profitable as compared to their own subsidiaries operating in India because of higher subscription.
Are sports channels outside more profitable than in India? See, a simple answer would be we haven't seen, right? So why waste 2 minutes answering the question the long way?
Okay, in one of the slides you mentioned the assumptions on the ad revenue growth and the subscriber revenue growth. I thought ad revenue growth was somewhere around 23-24% numbers that you were talking about. Now, considering that you already have a time limit, so are you suggesting that most of the growth on the ad revenues will be pricing led rather than volume, because you have a cap on the volumes, you can't have more than 12 minutes of advertising per hour. So are you suggesting that most of this growth will be pricing?